Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Saturday, May 23rd, 2020. Top news story this morning: major fire in San Francisco at Pier 45, which serves as a World War II museum. Of course, the World War that ended in 1945. 45, of course, a big number at this moment in history. Just look at the front page alongside the news story. That orange face with that comb over, number 45. And of course, in San Francisco right now, you have the 45th mayor of the city, London Breed, who is 45 years old. And now this historic museum goes up in flames. Pier 45. And London Breed, her upcoming birthday, August 11th, is in 81 days. That matters because Inferno in Gematria equals 81 and 45. If you're new here, Gematria is the very elementary practice of coding numbers into words. You learn this elementary code of letters and numbers. You see through the rituals that go on every single day in mainstream headlines. The word ritual also sums to 81 and 45. So again, the 45th mayor, 45 years old right now, 81 days from her upcoming birthday on August 11th. Pier 45 goes up in an inferno. And we'll talk more about these numbers as we move through. Notice the name London Breed in Gematria sums to 54, the reflection of 45. Jesuit orders 54. We're going to be talking a lot about the Jesuits in this post. San Francisco is named after Saint Francis of Assisi, just like Pope Francis is named after Saint Francis of Assisi, and he's the first publicly Jesuit pope. If you're new here, Gematria is based on the alphabetic order forwards and backwards, and also the alphabetic order forwards and backwards using the rules of numerology. They're considered the four base ciphers of the English language. Notice when you write out 45 and 54, they have the exact same numerical values in all four ciphers. The exact same, 45, 54. Today, the date that this happened, May 23rd, 2020, a date we've been watching out for. If you're new here, we always circle the date, May 23rd. There's always big news on this date, and that's for a number of reasons. But the reason we are really watching it this year is because it's the day leaving 222 days left in the year. 222, we said it would be the number of the year. We called the Chiefs to beat the 49ers in Super Bowl 54 because of the number 222. We saw how Andy Reid could get his 222nd career win in Super Bowl 54 exactly 222 weeks after the Kansas City Royals defeated the New York Mets in the 111th World Series on the date 2/2/2020. And that is what happened. The 49ers also had a $222 million payroll, the highest in the NFL. So here we are on the day leaving 222 days left in the year, and the loser of Super Bowl 54 now has one of their main attractions burning to the ground. And again, this is not an accident. This is what goes on every single year. So we'll talk more about that Super Bowl connection because it's deeper than what I just said. But that was one of the big reasons we were looking at today, because today leaves 222 days left in the year, which has also been a huge number with the Wuhan coronavirus. And we'll touch on that in a moment. But today, May 23rd, 2020, date was 68 numerology. Arson equals 68. San Francisco does have the gematria of 68. This fire's on Jefferson Street, another 68. And don't forget, San Francisco on the 122nd Meridian West. In Gematria, San Francisco is 122, so is Pope Francis. Again, both the city and Pope Francis are named after Saint Francis of Assisi. They're saying the Saint Francis waterboat saved one of the boats that's preserved there at Pier 45 from World War II. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, satanic equals 122, which is fitting because San Francisco is where the Church of Satan was established in 1966. Since moved to Hell's Kitchen of New York, You might recall after Super Bowl 48, there was explosions underground in Hell's Kitchen near the Church of Satan. Again, the NFL. By the way, the National Football League equals 122 as well, so that might be why they do these satanic rituals that connect to the NFL, at least part of it. And with regards to this being connected to the Super Bowl, it was Kansas City versus San Francisco. Kansas City's 122, like San Francisco. You might recall last year, the MLB season, the Seattle Mariners got off to the best start in baseball. They began the season 12-2 by beating Kansas City. Seattle, like San Francisco's on the 122nd Meridian West. The location that burned, it's known as Fisherman's Wharf, which has the gematria of 78 and 84. Pier 45, when written out as words, is 84. Jesuits 84 and 78. You just had the Black Pope, the leader of the Jesuits, the former Black Pope, died at age 84. The last Pope to die while Pope died while he was 84 years old. He was replaced by Ratzinger, who was 78 years old. We talked about how the Jesuit Anthony Fauci, who's overseeing this coronavirus agenda at this time, he took his throne in the year 1984, and then the pandemic was declared 78 days after his birthday. These numbers 78 and 84 come together all the time with the Jesuits. So Fisherman's Wharf has the 78-84 gematria, which is burning today. Keep in mind, Pope Francis is in his 84th year of his life right now. He'll turn 84 later this year. He was born on a date with 84 numerology. Again, he's the first publicly Jesuit Pope. And from his birthday to today is 158 days later, which matters because the Society of Jesus was founded on 15/8, like 158. Notice it's also 5 months and 6 days, like Society of Jesus is 56. And then today, May 23rd, because it's a leap year, it's the 144th day of the year. Jesuit order is 144. Again, it's the day leaving 222 days left in the year. The head of the Jesuits, the Black Pope, their title is Superior General, which equals 222 and 84. Again, the Jesuit motto, Order Out of Chaos, also equals 222. And, you know, mainstream media is showing this guy's tweet, Dan Whaley, his name equals 42, like Jesuit, like Georgetown. Like how the last Pope to die while Pope died on April 2nd, 42. Like how Vatican City was established on the 42nd day of the year. They say the blaze began at 4:17 a.m. That's curious because that's the 257th minute of the day. 257. 257 is the 55th prime number, and burn equals 55, as does Satan. Think about it. Fire, brimstone, Satan. Today's date can also be written 25/3, like 253, which is the 22nd triangular number. Arson equals 22, so does Jesuits, the plural. So perfect day for an arson. Again, we have the 68 date numerology as well, and arson 68. Again, this is why if you know your 4 base ciphers, you'll see the totality of the ritual. Another tweet that the mainstream media is using from the San Francisco Fire Department media. They put theirs out at 5:04 a.m. Remember, Jesuit orders 54. We'll touch more on that number in a moment. They say the fireboat St. Francis saved the SS Jeremiah O'Brien. I'm not sure if the other ship was saved there. Oh, never mind. Actually, I take it back. It's right there. And it successfully saved the ship from damage. Oh, no, I take it back. It doesn't say about the other ship there. It does not say. So there's 2 ships at Pier 45 from World War II. I don't know if the other one was saved. But they saved the SS Jeremiah O'Brien, the one that has the 78 and 84 gematria, like Jesuit. And speaking of Jesuits, Gavin Newsom, Jesuit educated. Just like Nancy Pelosi is part of a Catholic family that no doubt has Jesuit connections. She's in San Francisco as well. Don't forget Super Bowl 54 was 54 days from her birthday, Pelosi. But Gavin Newsom, he's Jesuit educated. From his birthday or from today to his upcoming birthday is 141 days. San Francisco, California, 141. And what's interesting is 811 is the 141st prime number. The mayor of San Francisco, London Breed, her birthday is 811, so fitting birthday for San Francisco mayor. But remember, Gavin Newsom, not too long ago when he locked down California, he said that 56% of Californians would have coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is 56 days. And again, just in case you're new here, this point can't be overlooked enough. I'm going to get rid of every cipher except for what's considered the most important cipher. They're all important, but it's considered the most important is the alphabetic order with the rules numerology. So think about what Gavin Newsom said. He said 56% of Californians will have coronavirus in 8 weeks, which is, of course, 56 days. Coronavirus is 56. He's Society of Jesus educated. Those are the Jesuits. Society of Jesus, 56. The face of this agenda is Anthony Fauci, who's a Jesuit. Anthony Fauci, 56. Before Washington, D.C. was Washington, D.C., it was controlled by the Jesuits. It was the Catholic colony. Washington, D.C., 56. Everybody's going out and buying all the toilet paper because the Masonically controlled media told them to. Toilet paper, 56. Mind control, 56. And the list does go on from there. If you watch this past Wednesday's radio show. By the way, all of you guys keep asking me to cover things that I covered in this Wednesday's radio show. You guys are leaving comment. I don't want to watch your radio show this Wednesday. It's too long, but did you cover this? You guys, the reason the radio show is long is because I covered a lot of things, including everything you're asking me about. But anyway, Rambo gave us a lot more with the 56 and the Jesuits. But I just want to remind about that because today is 5 months and 6 days after the Pope's birthday. And again, all these things are ritual and connected. So anyway, perfect ritual with the mayor, perfect ritual with Gavin Newsom. And don't forget, the only reason the mayor is because they killed their last mayor by the numbers. What was his name? Ed Lee, the little Asian guy. And then London Breed took over shortly after. But with regards to the Super Bowl piece, from the date of the Super Bowl to this fire is 112 days. And that matters because Super Bowl's 112, Chiefs is 112. Remember, that Super Bowl was in Miami, which equals 45, the reflection of 45, at Hard Rock Stadium. And don't forget what happened in New Orleans, which equals 45 and 54, 112 days before the Super Bowl. They had the collapse of their Hard Rock Hotel that killed people. That was 112 days before the Super Bowl was in Hard Rock Stadium. Hard Rock Hotel collapsed in the 45-54 city. So now 112 days after the Super Bowl, the losing city burns. And with regards to New Orleans in football, they hosted the championship this year for college between the Tiger teams, Clemson and LSU, and the local LSU team won. Joe Burrow, and then 54 days later was Super Bowl 54, the Joe Montana Bowl, where Joe Montana equals 54. And Joe Montana wore 19 for the Chiefs, and the Chiefs win the 2019 season with the Super Bowl at the beginning of 2020. All scripted by the numbers. But it's 112 days later. And when you think 112, you should think Jesuits because they operate in 112 countries. Remember the last Super Bowl that had a Jesuit-educated quarterback, Matt Ryan, that was Super Bowl 51, which came 51 days from Pope Francis's birthday. Pope Francis blessed that Super Bowl. And of course, Arthur Blank, the owner of the Falcons, who Matt Ryan plays for, he has the Jesuit order's birthday, September 27th. But anyway, today leaves 222 days left in the year. That was the huge number with the Super Bowl. That's why we picked the Chiefs to beat the 49ers. Andy Reid again got his 222nd career win exactly 222 weeks after the Kansas City Royals won the World Series against the 49ers, who had the highest payroll in the league, $222 million. And with regards to the Jesuits operating in 112 countries, Catholicism equals 112 and 68, like we covered the 68s in the beginning. Arson, 68. Jefferson Street, 68. San Francisco, 68. Today's 68 date numerology. But then with regards to Super Bowl 54, Venus equals 54, and Venus is Lucifer. Notice Venus also equals 81, like how today's fire was 81 days from London Breed's birthday. London Breed equals 54. Again, she's the 45th mayor and 45 years old. But Venus is Lucifer, and the Jesuits have a history with Venus, and many accuse the Jesuits of worshiping Lucifer instead of Jesus, both of which equal 74 in Gematria, Lucifer and Jesus. Cross, Messiah, Gospel, Parables, they're all 74, all just using the alphabetic order. But Lucifer is Venus, so Lucifer's 74, and what today is the 74th day of the pandemic. Remember, the pandemic was declared March 11th. Coronavirus pandemic equals 113. Just like the National Basketball Association equals 113. And don't forget, it was San Francisco, the Warriors, the first team to announce that they were going to play any games without fans, but then later that same day, Rudy Gobert, the Utah Jazz, tested positive with the virus. Rudy Gobert, 7'1", it was the 71st day of the year. Catholic 71, Utah Jazz 113. Yesterday, Jerry Sloan, dead at age 78, who began coaching in the 77-78 season with the Bulls, and then coached with the Utah Jazz. The two teams getting a lot of attention during this time off from the NBA because it was a Utah Jazz player that got the league suspended, and now it's the Michael Jordan Last Dance thing. It's all ritual. But anyway, it's the 74th day of the pandemic, right? Lucifer's 74. The Jesuits are responsible for the coronavirus agenda. If you're new here, you don't know that because you haven't seen all the work we've been doing for the past 100 and some days, but it is them. Tony Fauci, the Jesuit, said at the Jesuit University, Georgetown, on January 10th, 2017, that the Trump administration would deal with a pandemic and there would be a surprise outbreak, and he guaranteed it. And ask yourself, how can you guarantee such things? How can you guarantee there will be a pandemic and it'll happen under Trump? It's because it's all planned. It's because it's all by this game. Event 201, the coronavirus outbreak simulation of October 18, 2019, the day leaving 74 days left in the year. Why was it called Event 201? Because 201 is a Jesuit number. The Jesuit order equals 201. Ignatius of Loyola equals 201. That's the Jesuit founder. Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 201. That's Pope Francis's name, the first Jesuit pope. William Henry Gates is 201, who's a Jesuit. That's Bill Gates' full name, who was at Event 201, so on and so forth. But today's the 74th day of the pandemic of Wuhan coronavirus 222. And don't forget the significance of 222. Donald Trump, the 45th president, on his 222nd day of his age, was at the World Economic Forum, which equals 222, who was the main sponsor of Event 201. Again, Wuhan coronavirus is 222. When you write out Event 201, it equals 222. World Economic Forum 222. That was in New York, New York, which equals 222. From September 11, 2001, which happened on the 74th Meridian West in New York. From September 11, 2001 to the day the pandemic was declared, March 11, 2020, was 222 months. The motto, Order Out of Chaos, is 222, which is a motto shared by the Jesuits and the Masons, and the Jesuits are a Masonic order. But again, Trump was at the World Economic Forum on his 222nd day of his age, gloating about world trade, which was January 21st, 2020, the same day that the first case of coronavirus was confirmed in the U.S. And they say that first case arrived on January 15th, which was the day that Trump signed off on his trade deal with China. And that's what he was gloating about at the World Economic Forum. And then you supposedly get this Wuhan coronavirus from China, and now Trump's telling you by the numbers that the vaccine might come out of China after this massive trade deal. Again, it's all ritual, it's all mockery. When you know the numbers, you see how every inch of this is executed. And there's about 1 million more 222s, but those are the main ones. So that's why we were watching for today, May 23rd. And this is why San Francisco's burning today. And just like I said, the Super Bowl and the 222 ritual was not separate from the Wuhan coronavirus 222 ritual because, of course, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. And in our history books, we know that the chiefs and the Native Americans were killed with biological warfare by purposefully unleashing a plague on them. So what's going on right now obviously isn't as severe as what happened to the Native American population, but it is the same satanic cabal who was responsible for that is responsible for this, and they are the same satanic cabal that put up the Georgia Guidestones March 22nd, 1980 that says, reduce the world's population to 500 million. And for that to happen, there would have to be a major genocide unleashed on the world. And in light of those stones being in Georgia, don't forget that Georgia and genocide both equal 44. So just because they're not doing it now doesn't mean that they won't do it at some point in the future. These people are evil, and this is what evil looks like. And it's why the world is full of more evil than it needs to be. And to make this point about Venus and the Jesuits, Maximilian Hell, the Jesuit, is credited with tracing Venus, tracking Venus through the sky, which is Lucifer. Notice his name was also Helmixka, Maximilian Hell or Helmixka. And his birth name was Helmixka, which equals 54 like Venus. And look at what day he died. He died April 14th. April 14th, 14/4, like 144. Jesuit order 144, like how today, May 23rd, is the 144th day of the year. Jesuit order 144 with the alphabetic order, 54 with the alphabetic order and rules of numerology. Venus is 54, Helmixka 54. He died at age 71. Hell is 71, Catholic 71. And this stuff's not an accident, you guys. The Catholic Church got rich by making people pay for their sins and selling things such as tickets to get out of hell and tickets to get into heaven. And, you know, when that's your business, think about the incentive to make people sin and to give them incentive to sin. Why not control both sides of it? Make double the money. The Catholic Church is the richest entity in the world, and this is how they've gotten there, by exploiting human nature, where humans are easily controlled by fear. Thus, coronavirus. Thus, 9/11. By the way, when you write out 71 as a word, it's also 144, things we've talked about for years. From Maximilian's death to what would have been his birthday that year, 32 days, like how there's the 32 sun rays on the Jesuit logo, would have been his 72nd birthday, Jesuit order 72. So again, Venus, Helmixka, Jesuit order. Venus is Lucifer, London breed, London, Jesuit stronghold. And don't forget the first publicly Jesuit university, Georgetown. It was established by John Carroll when he was 54 years old in 1789. It's established 15 days after his 54th birthday. John Carroll 54, Jesuit order 54. Yesterday you had Patrick Ewing come down with the coronavirus by the numbers. Notice how Georgetown's also 42 like Jesuit. Georgetown was established January 23rd, 23/1. 231's the 21st triangular number. Jesuit 21, Rome 21. That name Carroll has the Gematria 47 like Christian, like DC, like Columbus, like Vatican. Like how DC's cornerstone was laid on the date with 47 numerology, 47 degrees on the Masonic compass, tribute to the 47th problem of Euclid. Georgetown was also established in the year George Washington became the first recognized president. George Washington turned 57 years old that year. Georgetown is 57, like Scottish Rite's 57. Again, the Jesuits and the Scottish Rite share mottos. Rome's 57. George, when you run it in reverse, is 105. Oh, I forgot to put a slide up here. George forwards is 57, like Georgetown, like how George Washington was inaugurated at age 57 as the Scottish Rite Freemason. George should be up here, 57. When you run George in reverse, it's 105. like Georgetown University, like Masonry. Again, the Jesuits are a Masonic order. So, Roman Catholicism 74, George Washington 74, Masonic 74, Roman 74. And again, today the 74th day of the pandemic, where the pandemic was predicted in the simulation October 18th, the day leaving 74 days left in the year, the same day the military World Games began in Wuhan, China. By the way, the military World Games began in Rome in 1995, like how the Jesuits' birthday is September 27th, the day leaving 95 days left in the year, like how Fauci equals 95 and he has 95 birth numerology, and like how the Jesuits were formed to kill Martin Luther, who wrote the 95 Thesis against the Catholic Church, not to be confused with how Martin Luther King Jr. died on the 95th day of 1968, which was also a date with 95 numerology. And just, again, so people remember, Jesuits pretty much own and operate this nation. Jesuits 84, United States of America 84. But notice how Washington, D.C. is 187, like George Washington's 187, like Society of Jesus is 187, like Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite of Freemasonry is 187. 187 books in the Torah, the beginning part of the Bible that Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are all based out of. But yeah, some of this other stuff, not exactly as relevant to what we're talking about today. But again, you learn this code, you go through the history books, you see why everything's been done on the dates it has. It's not hard to see who's running the show. So the authorities say they don't know who caused the fire, and that's most likely because the authorities set the fire, and it's most likely authorities who are connected to these same orders, Jesuits, Masons, Scottish Rite. But we had the date circled. Again, years ago, I broke down what the significance of May 23rd was, the date that can be written 23/5, like 235. And in a non-leap year, it's the 143rd day of the year. On the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry compass out of France, let me write this out real quick. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry. All of these numbers matter, but you see the 143? In a non-leap year, it's the 143rd day of the year, and the date can be written 23/5, like 235. Each leg's kicked out at 23.5 degrees, just like how the tropics of the Earth are 23.5 degrees off the equator. What's up, Kayla? Hello? Kayla, I can't hear you. Well, I was going to pick it up. Kayla's usually got something good to say. I'm sure she caught something I missed. She's been doing a lot of work with Chiefs. Okay, she's calling back. Let's try this again. Kayla?
Okay, is that better?
That's better.
I just had one thing about comparing it with San Francisco. You remember the Paradise Fires?
November 8th?
That was caught by PG&E, which
Right.
was out of San Francisco.
Ah.
And that was a span of 563 days ago from today, which is the 103rd prime number. So another 103 number, we saw that all over with this year in the NFL.
That was a huge number with the NFL. You're right. And Scottish is also 103, so yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to throw that out there since PG&E is out of San Francisco, and that's what caused the Paradise Fire.
All right. Great point, Kayla. Appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, bye.
All right, take care. Yeah, she always does great work. So, and just in case you forgot, the Los Angeles and Paradise Fires were November 8th, 2018, 118. In Los Angeles, California's 118. Paradise, California, 118. In Jewish Gematria, deaths, 118. Homicides, 118. They said they were the deadliest wildfires in California history. Don't forget, Los Angeles is on the 118th meridian. And don't forget that Los Angeles, their birthday is September 4th, the day leaving 118 days left in the year, like how their current mayor, Eric Garcetti, his name's 118. So, here, let's just map out what Kayla said real quick. So, from November 8th, 2018 to today, is, she said, did she say 560? If you count the span, I didn't click the box to count the span. If you count the span, it's 563. All right, so 563 is the 103rd prime number. When you run the alphabetic order in reverse, Scottish is 103. But what Kayla's talking about with the NFL season is that all year there were all these riddles with 103. And it's true. The first game of the season, it was Thursday Night Football. The Packers played the Bears, which was weird because normally the defending Super Bowl champion opens the season, but this year they didn't do it. But the Packers beat the Bears 10-3, 103 days after the death of Bart Starr, the Packers quarterback. And we said from that day on, then there started to pile up a bunch more 103 riddles that we were just documenting every week. But we said, okay, 103 is the 27th prime number. And we said if the AFC wins the Super Bowl this year, the AFC and NFC will be tied at 27-27. So we were on the AFC to win the Super Bowl all year. Before the season even began, we did pick the Chiefs as the most likely team to win the Super Bowl. About midway through the season when Mahomes got hurt, I was like, oh man, maybe it's going to be the Ravens instead. So I was like, okay, if it's not the Chiefs, it'll be the Ravens. But anyway, notice this year it was the all-red Super Bowl. See how red's 27, and it's also 54, Super Bowl 54. First all-red Super Bowl, meaning the Chiefs and the Niners wore red. First time ever, as they tied up at 27. And again, it was the Joe Montana Bowl, who played for both teams. But, oh yeah, and then, near the playoffs, that State Farm commercial came out with Mahomes and Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers has a nightmare and he sees everything in all red, and State Farm's 103. I have to go back and track them all, but there were a ton of 103 riddles, and those State Farm commercials were telling the tale all year as well. So, anyhow, had to break my rule and make a video today. We've been talking about this date for months. We talk about it every year. Don't forget the calendar system that we're on was given to us by the Catholic Church as well, the Gregorian calendar. Gregorian equals 58, calendar 58, zodiac 58, solar cycle 58. It's a solar calendar. Secret Society 58, Rosicrucian 58, Solomon's Temple 58, Freemasonry 58. But yeah, if you guys got here late, I'll wrap this up. You can watch it again from the beginning. Total ritual, synced up with the mayor, the governor, the pope, and most definitely Super Bowl 54. Once again, a reminder who runs the show. So, these people all need to be exposed, and there needs to be some serious consequences. Locking you in your houses with a lie. Unleashing viruses by a code. It's all about world domination, world control, and it's all done by numerical ritual. Again, working on the book, new book, coming very soon. As soon as I wrap up this video, it's time to get back to writing. And I gotta admit, the fingers are sore, man. Too much typing. But again, if you guys want to get the book, just come to GematriaEffectNews, search book, and it should pull up this post right here. For one more thing, if there's anybody out there that wants to draw an illustration for the cover that brings 9/11 and coronavirus together, I think if somebody wants to do that, we can work out some compensation. I can pay you if you want money. I can give you a bunch of copies of the book when it comes out. I can promote something for you. I can give you a combination of all three things. But I think it would be cool to have somebody in the community with their own illustration that brings 9/11 and coronavirus together. So if somebody wants to work on that, shoot me an email. Title your email cover illustration. And if you put it in all caps, that'll help out my old eyes. Cover illustration. And again, if you come to this post, down at the bottom of the post, if you want to pre-order the book, there's instructions for where to send the pre-order. And send the illustration cover illustration email to the same place where you would pre-order, numbergamesbook@gmail.com. I'll be looking for that there. I know I have other emails, but send it to that one. And if somebody wants to do that, happy to work out what works for you. So you want to be paid, you want a bunch of books, promotion, whatever, you got it. And again, you know, I imagine more than one of you will do this. If you're more, here's how we'll do it. The next time I do a radio show, which is next Wednesday night, I'll take all the ones that have come in so far and I'll show them and I'll get your guys' feedback on which one you guys like the most. Of course, I'll probably have a little bias. There'll probably be one I like more than the others. But I'll put it out to the community and see what people think. And once I'm finished writing the book, we can choose what we think is as a community is the best cover. And of course, everybody will have a different opinion, but there should be a consensus. So, all right, you guys, I think that's it for now. And oh, I see there were a few super chats. Thank you guys very much again for the generosity. B Trade says, "Hey Zach, I'm back making videos." B Trade, BE space TRAYED. He does good work. B Trade, glad to see you back. Alex the homie G says, "Time for Twitch, my friend. Stream keeps cutting." Yeah, I know. You're right about that. Free Reign says, "Keep it up." And Gary also says, "Consider getting a Twitch." So I guess we're being censored, but we'll leave it there, you guys. Till next time.